We're going up, up, up to the Upper Marae, where stories lift and voices fly. Put your tea towels down, let your worries fade. Open the gates, let the memories cascade. In this podcast world, we give it our best. So grab your cup or come say hi, no jest. We're going up to the Upper Marae, where conversations flow and spirits can't lie.
Kia ora and welcome to the Upper Marae. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Alexander Stevens II. This week we're acknowledging the importance of men's health and well-being across Aotearoa, celebrating our bros, fathers, uncles, and everybody else in between. Men's health is not only about the body, it's also about our mental well-being, relationships, identity, purpose, and connection with others around us. Many of our tāne carry pressure quietly while trying to stay strong for others, and for other tāne, not so much. I'm here with one of my dear friends, Chris Hennessy. Kia ora and bula and shalom. Chris, how are you?
Yeah, kia ora, bula shalom. Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be here.
Very good. By way of introduction, tell us about yourself.
A bit about my background. So my ethnicities, or where my parents are from. My mum's from the beautiful island of Fiji, from a province called Lau, from an island Lakamba, and the village we're from on that island is Levuka. So that's where my mum's from. And my dad is a Middle Eastern Jew, and I was born here in New Zealand, first generation born. So I've got a beautiful wife, married to a beautiful wahine, Māori Cook Island. And together we have 3 fruit salad sons, ages 17, 13 and 12. In my career or vocation, I am a general manager of a joinery manufacturer, and last year I celebrated 20 years with the same company.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, something I'm quietly proud of. And I'm quietly proud of it because it's a cool story for my sons, and it's a place I started off sweeping the floors sort of out of high school, and then just was able to work my way through and take on various leadership roles through the year, and now the general manager of that company. So that's a little bit about my day-to-day.
Nice. And talk to me about some of the pastoral care stuff you've done as well.
Yeah, so I took an interest in pastoral care and counselling from a faith perspective, and from a perspective of wanting to grow as a leader in my profession. And then as I sort of took more interest in it and started reading up on it, I found that it helped me personally, find language around things that I'd gone through, and things that I needed to sort of work through as an individual, to become just a more whole person, and a better father, a better husband, and a better leader in the workplace.
Nice. So, what hidden struggles or uncertainties do you think men are carrying that are often unseen by others?
Yeah, so I think in my observation and personal experience, particularly in leadership, I think with men I've found, and this is a personal experience too, is like, I guess underneath some of our struggles is this idea or this question we sort of ask ourselves, probably more unconsciously than consciously, is sort of, am I good enough?
Yes. That's come up quite a lot recently.
And
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, a lot of that, and I've definitely experienced that. And I used to see this quote come up in various ways over the years about, at the heart of man there's this idea that we want to be tested and found worthy, but there's also this fear where we're going to be tested and found wanting. And I think that sort of rings true for us as men, probably in the 2 biggest arenas is in our work, in our vocation or our career. Like, we sort of have this adversity to failure, or more the feeling of failure, and the other big arena where that rings true is, I guess, in our relationships, particularly with our significant other and as a parent. And so yeah, some of sort of the toughest and hardest seasons or times, I think, is when I've really struggled with that, or I've seen others, friends or colleagues, struggle with that.
Yeah.
But you'll probably have the evidence.
Yes. What you're saying naturally makes me think of those Arthurian legends of whether you can pull the sword, whether you're worthy to or not.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking.
Yeah.
And one of the, as I said before, one of the key things that comes up with our men again and again is this idea of being worthy, and what does that look like? And I think you've identified the 3 key areas, as a father, within the home, then within the work, and at various different levels as well. So it's, it's interesting to me that I think that one of the hidden struggles that we don't talk about is what does it actually look like, and what is the narrative that's being perpetuated internally and externally by others, and then ultimately where did that come from?
Yeah, that's a good point, because as I was sort of reflecting on this question, as my wife
that I sent you this morning.
We won't mention that. Cut that bit out.
No.
As my wife rightfully points out from time to time, our children, our tamariki, are the most vulnerable humans on the planet. And the reason is just that everything that's external within their environment eventually becomes internalized.
Yes.
And those formative years are so key. And I think particularly for our talking about our males and men's health, I don't think we realize how much of the narratives that are within the environment that they grow up and they internalize. I think I reflect on how do we deal with mistakes in the home, like when our children make a massive mistake, is it met with rage and anger? Is it met with mockery? Is it met with put downs and labeling? And we might not think that's significant, but it actually is very significant, because, like I said, what is external can become internalized and can be carried into adulthood. And it does get carried into adulthood from my own experience,
Right.
and until we're able to learn how to unwind that and work through that and heal from that, it'll show up in some way, shape or form in the unseen, really.
Right. What did that look like for you in terms of comfortable on what you want to share growing up, as a boy, teenager, young man? Adult?
Yeah. So one example of that is, I guess my dad was never around, and I had a stepdad that I guess, he was in some ways abusive towards me, and I really, whenever I made a mistake or just acted up or did normal things that kids do, like it was met with like this narrative of you're not good enough, you're lazy, it's just this kind of like when someone's just disappointed in you all the time, and so that's kind of the stuff I had to deal with through childhood, and then also my mum often worked multiple jobs, and was dealing with an adverse marriage as well in a blended family, and so emotionally at times she just wasn't available, and so I just had this I kind of internalized this idea that if I wanted to get positive attention, I needed to perform and achieve. And I realized I took that into adulthood. And in some ways I'm sort of known for having a good work ethic, but that was kind of masking this idea that I didn't want to fail. And I had to come to terms with that, because when I was sort of cutting my teeth as a leader and growing into leadership roles, when I inevitably had to deal with failure, it was really, really tough.
Yes.
Like, and they say like, we either fight, flight, freeze. Or fold. and there's times when I would be into flight mode and just avoid the situation altogether. And it happened within my marriage as well. Didn't deal with issues that were coming up that needed to be dealt with, and it just snowballed. Sometimes I guess fight mode comes up with anger and just this idea where you butt heads. And sometimes I just freeze, like I just wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
So that's kind of a little bit of some of the things I internalize and how they're manifested.
And I think, talk to me about fold. Fold's an extra one that I haven't heard of. So now we've got
really?
4 Fs.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. So talk to me about fold. Fold didn't exist.
Yeah, I think fold is a good one because there's sometimes when you need to stand up for yourself or you need to advocate.
Yes.
And we just don't have the energy, or we're just like, oh, it's just easier to roll over here.
I see.
And I think that's also like a masking emotion
Yes.
for something that you don't want to face into or deal with or feel. So
Can it also be positive in terms of sometimes within my different roles, I caution people, be careful of the mountain you want to die on. Like, is this the one that you ultimately want to...
Yeah. But I think in that situation,
what you mean by fold,
you're making a choice there.
Yes.
I think when you're folding, when you feel like you don't have a choice is different. So I think choice is key. But I think that's a good point. Like sometimes there's hills not worth dying on.
Yes.
Or sometimes we choose to turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
As it's said. So I think there's a distinction there. Yeah.
I think what your talanoa, your kōrero almost mimics my own, except, my father, as I later on found out, had undiagnosed schizophrenia. So he was just all over the place. And when it was good, and when it wasn't, it wasn't. And so part of my coping strategy was to excel definitely in education as a coping mechanism to deal with that uncertainty. Mum also worked multiple jobs and there wasn't that emotional availability. So, listening to you actually makes me think there's lots of crossovers. And so, I guess what I learned was, I guess some of the stuff that, for me that I learned is that I had to be careful who I could be friends with, because I couldn't bring them home. Because there was all that uncertainty. And then... I feel that. Yeah, right. Yeah. And then there was just lots of self-doubt in me that I've had to spend a long time unpicking or what I do consciously throwing it out. So part of my own strategy is I imagine pulling these things out of my head and flicking them down the motorway and they go tumbling down as I'm driving the other way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and if I'm going back on the other side, I just imagine hitting them. My thoughts that it's not another oncoming. And then that's how I kind of deal with stuff, because, I think struggles and uncertainties are just normal, part of being alive. But, you talk about choices, about how we deal with it. So talk to me about how you might have chosen things, as a young man compared to how you make decisions now.
Yeah, I think now that I'm a bit older and hopefully a bit wiser.
Yes.
It's kind of just asking myself, like, why am I feeling this way about the situation versus just going with the emotion.
Right.
Not that I always do that, and not that I'm perfect and get it right, but I think even just that pause to think, actually, what's really going on here. And the other thing is also having trusted people. Like you said, I referred to, like, my environment was just so unstable, I guess, emotionally. You didn't have, I guess, the big people there to lean on and rely on. Whereas now, as an adult, with a wonderful family of my own, like, my wife's a great sounding board. I often go to her and just say, I'm struggling with this. What do you think? And I have a few good friends as well, yourself included, that I could that I could just run something past and be like, I'm feeling this way. What do you think? And sometimes my friends are like, they'll give me a dose of reality and be like, actually, that I don't think that's really what's happening. And they tell like it said, they tell the truth in love, and I think that's really helpful. So it's around having a good support network. It's around having good language. Like, I don't do this, but I did do it for a time, like just writing stuff down, and just reaching for different frameworks that just helps to put language around it. And it just gives me a better perspective, and then I can go back into the situation and actually deal with it from a healthy perspective versus just reacting. So I guess that response versus react.
Yes.
And it's something, I try to teach my kids, and I guess it's got to be age and stage appropriate too. You know, they're still kids, so they're not always going to get it right, but they can fail, and it's all right to fail. You know, like yeah.
What I've realised is that these podcasts is also capturing a piece of history that perhaps your own sons and perhaps future grandchildren might listen to about you. So when you were talking about surrounding yourself with people that love you, what does it actually look like in reality? Because man, have I made some bad mistakes growing up with that little situation, you know? So
yeah, I like the phrase wise vulnerability. So it's
unpack that.
Yeah, so it's topical in this day and age to say vulnerability is a good thing, which I think is valid. But
it's contextual.
Exactly, that's
right. I mean, if I was going to a lion cage, I would not want to be demonstrating vulnerability.
Yeah.
But and I definitely I agree with you. It seems to be like an in vogue kind of word. But I think context is
100%. And that's why I like the phrase wise vulnerability, because you've got to be wise who you go to with what. You know, and it's about people that you've built trust with over time. Like, you know, I think when I first started trying to work through different traumas in my own life, like you just want to try and get it out of your system and talk about it, because that's the first step. But not everyone can hold the space of listening to that and understanding that. Some people are shocked by it. Some people sort of, instead of listening, go into telling you what to do and you shouldn't feel that way and that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, I think you kind of have to learn how to be a good people picker.
Yes.
Yeah. And in saying that, like, one of the things I really want to teach my sons growing up is how to just have a good people picker and a good radar with people. And I think they to a degree they do. But yeah, that certainly is something that you have to learn and mature in. And not all of us have been afforded the opportunity.
How do you start being a people picker though? I've got an idiot radar, so when that activates, I stay well clear. But I've never done people picking actively before. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's slowly testing the waters with people. Like you can sort of, over time you can sort of tell, that person's got integrity, or that person.
So through actions? Or
through observation, through actions, through interactions, through behaviours. It takes time, and you have to show a little bit of vulnerability and see what they do with it. So I think there's a good litmus test there. But over time, I guess you start to mature in that area, hopefully, and hopefully you learn what doesn't work and not too badly. But I think it comes with maturity.
And so for you, if you were going to create like some kind of framework or application to help your boys with this, what would be like one of the first key things to think about when picking the right kind of people in your life?
Yeah, I think it starts with us as parents modelling it. So when they make a mistake, how do we respond to it? When they step out of line and need to be disciplined, how do we handle it? Because I think those things become internalized and they become part of their people picking characteristic. What do they do when somebody is suggesting something to them and they need to say no, but it's really hard to say no? So I like the idea of getting our kids to exercise their no muscle. And my wife's really good at that. Like she's wonderful at respecting their opinions and letting them speak their minds, even if it's way out there or completely wrong. You know, how do we react with some of their opinions is really going to help them with their people picker. So I think it starts there. And then also who do we bring into the home? Who do we pick? Who do we choose to be around? Our kids are always observing and watching. And how we're allowing ourselves to be treated in front of them.
Quite powerful. So what's the key message that we're going to take away just from this one brief podcast, my friend, about what hidden struggles or uncertainties have been carrying? Sounds, well, I guess from my end, it's about acknowledging that the past can influence our current behaviour. I like this idea of people picking. and then passing that knowledge on to future generations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also that this idea of underneath it all, we want to feel that we're good enough and worthy. I think maybe just keep that in mind, when there's situations and others are acting out or not handling properly. Maybe there's something deeper underneath it, and we should have a bit more empathy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new He-Man movie?
No, but as soon as I saw this trailer, I thought of you.
His key frame is "I have the power," and when I think about it as an adult compared to when I was a child, that power really is about, as you say, making conscious decisions around who do you want in your life, who do you want to nourish you, vice versa. Are your actions mimicking what you're saying?
Yeah.
With integrity? Are what they say also reciprocal with integrity? So I think when I think about that phrase of "I have the power," I think it's about how do we share that power together to grow and rise.
Yeah.
So
It's wonderful, mate.
On that note, my friend, thank you very much. The gates of the Upper Marae are now closing. Mori ora.
In this